If you are wondering how you could reinvent your music business, and the first thing that comes to mind is how would you work with your students in this new model? How could you teach them in a way that would get them results? What methodologies would you use? Would you include group sessions, one on one? Would you send them videos? Would you be building materials? And you're finding yourself caught up in this decision making place of how would you work with your students? In this episode, I'm going to share with you why what you focus on matters. And before you even think about what would you do with your students, we're going to talk to you about how to even get those students in the first place. So let's dive in. Welcome to the Musicians Creating Prosperity podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Fabiana Claure. And in today's episode, I'm going to share why what you focus on is super important when it comes to reinventing your music business. And if you're trying to figure out all of the logistics that have to do with how you would actually teach your students and which ways would you share with them your knowledge and whether you use method books or not, or whether you would be creating your own curriculum or whether you would be meeting with them face to face or online, and you're finding yourself kind of in this decision-making fatigue situation, trying to make all these decisions around how would you actually teach your students in this new way online. In today's episode, I'm going to share why what you focus on matters. And before you even think about how you would teach your students and which methodologies would you use and whether you would include one-on-one or group or how would you do it, first you need to take a step back and understand that without clients, worrying about how to teach the clients makes no sense and it's not relevant, because before you even think about what would you do with your students, how would you teach them, you need to get the students in the first place. You need to actually know what it takes to actually find, attract, and convert the right clients into your new online program. So today we're going to talk about what are the ways in which you can actually take a step back and perhaps stop focusing so much on the client delivery portion of this process. Stop focusing so much on thinking how would you work with your students if you were to reinvent yourself in this way? And instead look at what do you need to do before you even get students, and how can you start positioning your brand more strategically, sharing your knowledge and learning how to communicate what you do and why it matters, and attracting those students in the first place. So why is this important? Because when it comes to switching the way you work, if you have traditionally been teaching students in one-on-one sessions, whether it's virtually or in person, and you're very familiar with what it takes to get them results through this traditional methodology of teaching, I understand why you may be right now caught up in trying to figure out how you would teach them in a new way. But here's the thing. If you don't first realize that before you can switch your teaching model, you need to understand how to either enroll your current students in the new version, right? Meaning how you need to communicate to your students the value of what you're doing while also potentially attracting new students into this model. Before you even think about how you would teach them, you need to know how you would get them. So let's talk about those steps, because here's the thing. Before you build an online program, people are going to need to know, what is this reinvention all about? And why are you communicating this right now? What is happening in your life? People always like to know the context. And I've spoken about this in different episodes, when it comes to being able to position the value, being able to communicate it effectively. But today we're going to talk about the 4 key areas that you need to focus on when it comes to actually making any sort of change. When you start creating any sort of reinvention in your brand, the first step is really sharing with your audience, what is it about your framework? What is it about your lens and your story that makes you different, that makes you unique? And believe it or not, people are going to come to you if you were to consider reinventing your business in this way, transition from teaching one-on-one lessons into building an online business. Or if you have been teaching online but have been doing it primarily through one-on-one instruction, and you're considering restructuring your business into this more group format leveraged model that we talk about in this episode series and this whole podcast, then the first step is helping people understand why your lens, and why now. And that can only be done by reinventing your brand and being able to share with people your unique lens, your unique perspective. Whether you teach one instrument, whether you teach a specific core principle, like performance anxiety, you're not necessarily teaching music, or you're doing music and other things like meditation, breath work, how to enter universities, college application as a music student, whatever skill you think you can share people, how to find performance opportunities, how to produce, release music, like whatever your skill sets look like. The first step is helping people understand, and you even understanding, what is it about your story that makes you different. So the branding definition is very important, because this is what will attract the right type of clients into your offer. They will come to you not only because of the things you do and your skills, but most importantly because of who you are as a human being. And most of the times when we're thinking about reinventing our businesses, we get so caught up in the skill side, the skill set side. Well, but I don't know if I'm qualified enough or if I have the right credentials, if I have enough experience or enough credibility. And you get really distracted with trying to justify how you could position yourself as an expert, as an authority. And I'm here to tell you that you already have everything that you need to give clients what they need. You just have to step into understanding that the reason why people will invest in you is not just because of what you know. It's not just because of what you do, but most importantly, because of who you are. So write that down. People will come to me because of me, not because of my knowledge and skills only, but because of my essence, my values, my perspective, right? And whether you're teaching one instrument or multiple instruments or different skills on top of your, musical side of things, ultimately it comes down to understanding the value of building a personal brand. So starting with the branding step, that is going to help you step away again from being so caught up in the method delivery and client services side of things and instead focus on, wait, what do you need to do to actually get people to come into this process, right? It starts with the branding definition. The second step is going to be understanding how this new model, right? If you are considering restructuring your business, how will this new model actually get them results faster? Most of the times, premium clients, people that will invest in a program like what we are sharing here, the vision of the model, which is usually not a low ticket subscription, not a low cost subscription, but more of a experience that people get to access you over a period of time. If you are able to offer your services in this way, people will come and they will want to have different touch points with you, whether it's through a platform where they can send you questions and you can answer them throughout the week individually, or maybe a weekly group call where they can ask you questions in a kind of a hot seat scenario. You're going to want to make sure that you have a format, some sort of an offer structure that will get them access to your knowledge while you build your knowledge along the way. Meaning, rather than thinking that if you were to build an online business, you need to pre-record a bunch of videos and create a bunch of trainings and sell a finished product, if you will, which is a common misconception that I hear a lot of musicians think about. Oh, I'm going to create an online business. I need to start creating videos. That's the last thing you need to do. That's the last part of the puzzle. Creating the actual videos is the last piece of this puzzle. The first part is everything I'm sharing with you here: building a brand, learning how to actually design the offer, and most importantly, how to position your knowledge in some sort of a framework way where people can see that you have a system. And believe it or not, even if you don't realize it right now, if you know how to get clients from A to Z, like if clients come to you and students who are working with you and they have a challenge, and through being with you, they are able to solve that challenge, accelerate their learning, get to the next stage in their development, that means you have a system, even if you don't realize it right now. And so being able to break down what that system could be, even if it's in simple terms, 3 to 5 steps, whatever you want to call it, learning how to explain what is it about the way you work with clients that gets them results. That's the second part of this process. Without that, it will be hard for people to see that you actually have a process they can trust. And the beautiful thing about building this model is that you're not just selling access to your time, right? The whole point of this is that people will come to you because they want to access your knowledge, your brain, your mindset, your perspective, your lens. We'll be right back to today's episode in just a moment, but I wanted to share something that might really resonate with you. You've built a music business from the ground up, but here's the question. If you step away, does everything stop? If you're feeling trapped in a business that can't scale without sacrificing your quality of life, you're not alone. Most musician entrepreneurs get stuck trading time for money, drowning in daily tasks, and missing precious moments with family, all while their income stays frustratingly flat. What if there was a way to put your music business on autopilot while actually multiplying your income? That's exactly why I created the Music Business Freedom Guide. It contains 5 proven strategies that helped me transition from burnout to building 2 successful businesses with real lifestyle freedom. Inside, you'll discover how to manage your energy for maximum creativity and profit, build simple systems that run without your constant oversight, use my CEO time blocking method to eliminate overwhelm and focus only on activities that actually generate revenue. This isn't just another grow your business guide. It's about creating freedom through smart structure and systems. If you're ready to build a music business that serves your life instead of consuming it, download your free copy now, because your music and your life deserves so much more than just surviving. All right, let's get back to today's episode. So being able to explain to them what that looks like and what it's about is a very important part of this process before you start building the actual curriculum. Why? Because once people start working with you, then you'll be able to get direct input from them and decide what can you extract from your knowledge. You probably have so much knowledge, right? And you have so much you can draw from. So it's a bit overwhelming to try to think that you need to put all of that together ahead of time unless you already have those clients with you face to face. So do not worry again about trying to think about what would you teach, how would you teach. That's not what we're here to discuss. That's the whole point of this episode, is to help you realize that there's a lot you need to think about and decide and build and communicate even before you start worrying about the client services side of things, right? The third step, right? We talked about branding, we talked about creating your offer. The third step is then going to be learning how to actually enroll clients in this new program, whether it's transitioning your existing students into this new offer or potentially opening yourself to bring in new clients into this offer. Your communication skills need to be elevated. And I've made several episodes talking about the importance of the right communication skills, why those are a make or break in this process. So you can reference, and previous episodes where I'm talking about like communication skills, leadership skills, sales skills, influence, all of that. But I just want to break this down into you today so that you can see all the things that you need to be thinking about before you're worrying about what should you be teaching and how are you going to be teaching, whether you're going to use this method or that method or a group or individual. Like all those questions are coming at the end. You don't need to answer those until you get someone to say yes and actually pay you and be a part of this process, right? So the third step is learning how to communicate this. You need to know how to sell it, how to explain it, and how to convey the value so that people can understand it. Because if you build a beautiful offer, you have the best brand, but you don't understand how to explain it to people, how to communicate the value, then no one's going to buy. And ultimately, this isn't just about selling it. This is about taking that step that will help them activate the transformation, right? Otherwise, they're just learning from you. But if they never buy from you, they never join your entire container, they'll never get that full experience, that full transformation. And you know that. So, in order for you to help them get the transformation that they need, you need to learn how to communicate the value and to learn how to improve your sales and communication skills. So, especially if you have any sort of resistance around sales, that's a red flag. You're going to need to learn to overcome that, right? And again, there's many ways you can overcome that. You can listen to more episodes. You can reach out and talk to us. Like, we are happy to help you be able to handle those insecurities and limiting beliefs. There are ways that you can overcome that. But if you don't connect and really commit to overcoming any resistance you have around sales, believe me, it'll be impossible for you to sell to your own clients. So that's also just a little side note here. When it comes to sale, like, you can't sell if you can't be sold to, right? And so that's something you're going to need to address. And if you need help with that, if you need help with any of this, reach out, because we're here to support you and we're happy to help you map out a plan for it. There should be a booking link somewhere around the show notes in this podcast. So definitely reach out if you feel that you're stuck in that area or any of these areas that I'm going over. But anyway, the sales process is a very important step because that's how you're going to actually get clients to come into this, whether it's current clients or new clients. And then you're also going to need to market this and find a system that will attract, nurture, and convert clients into your offer on autopilot. When you create an online business, your content becomes your storefront. This is the way people are going to decide whether or not they want to work with you, is by learning from you for free initially. Just seeing the essence of your teaching philosophy, understanding what your values are about, who you really are, what you care about, what is your teaching approach. All these questions can be shared through content creation. And the good news is that, you don't have to do it all yourself, all the heavy lifting. There are ways that you can expedite the process of building your content, creating your knowledge online, building that visibility by leveraging tools that exist. There's artificial intelligence. There's obviously being able to follow proven templates and frameworks. And that's a lot of the work we do by not only giving our clients the process of this, but also by actually installing our AI systems in their businesses so that they can actually have it all built from them through their own content, through their own initial material. So you need to have some sort of a system, right? Where you're creating content, whether it's videos, whether it's written posts, scheduling these out and having a system that you're putting the message out there. You're putting your content out there generously and really adding value to your community so they can learn about the opportunities that exist. They can learn about whether they need to improve their musical skills, how to get into colleges for music, or how to overcome performance anxiety, memory lapses, recovering from a performance-related injury, finding venues to perform at, gigging opportunities. I don't know. I mean, there's so much that you could be offering. The bottom line is, unless you commit to creating content that brings that awareness to your audience, it'll be really difficult for you to find the right types of clients, right? And to have a system to continuously grow your business. The beautiful thing about this model is that once you put these 4 things in place, then you can actually have an evergreen system that attracts people into your business, and you're not bound to a specific time to welcome clients, meaning a specific starting and ending point. This model does not work like a traditional university system, for example, where unless you start in August, you can't come into the semester course until December, right? Or unless you start in January, you have to wait till the semester ends to join. When you build this model, literally you have your business open doors all year round, every single day, you can welcome clients that come in, because as long as you have these systems in place and you're building content as you go, then any new client that comes in can actually be going through the previously recorded materials and then meeting with you on a weekly basis so that you can answer their questions and give them that personalized touch point that they may need to continue going through or reaching their goals, whatever they're working on. So this is a very flexible model, which is why I'm so passionate about sharing about this with all of you in this podcast and all of our episodes, because I really know that if you're a musician right now who's stuck and you're feeling like you've given all your time away and you're stuck in trying to create an income and you're sacrificing things like your health, your family time, your creativity, and you're just feeling burned out, there's no reason why you need to stay that way. This is something that is alive, that is happening now, and that musicians are thriving through. And we've shared many different examples and case studies, etc., on how musicians are using this model today. And I want to encourage you to just realize that it's actually something that can be very possible no matter where you are right now in your business or in your career, whether you live in a rural area, in an urban area, whether you have a lot of students already, or you're trying to build a baseline of students, or you may be working in a different job in a different area of the industry, or even in a different industry, and you're a musician by heart and you want to find a way to kind of bridge that gap and start working through what you really love to do. This model can be adaptable, and it's so flexible that you can ultimately make it your own as long as you focus on what matters, right? That's the whole point of this episode, is like, if you focus on what matters, you will get results. And most of the time it's very easy to get overwhelmed because there's a lot of information out there, a lot of options being thrown at us, and a lot of things that we feel we need to decide on when we get started. And it's actually not the right way to do it. When you get started, don't get caught up on trying to figure out how you would teach this model. Instead, realize that there's these 4 things, right? The brand definition, the offer design, the sales systems, and the marketing engine. These 4 things are what you need to get started with before you start thinking about whether you would use this methodology or that methodology, or whether you would have a group session or one-on-one. All these questions are going to come later. So I hope this helps you hopefully simplify the process if you have been wondering around how could you do this and what would it look like for your specific case. And again, I want to invite you to book a call and to reach out to us if you feel you need any additional guidance or clarity, or if you would like me and my team to map out a customized step-by-step option to implement this framework in your business. Feel free to reach out so that we can help you figure out how you can apply everything we shared today and everything we're sharing in our episode with you, and help you figure out how this could work for your specific situation. So thank you for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Leave us a review if you would, so that we can spread this podcast with more people, more listeners, more musicians around the world. And until next time, let's prosper together.